Inflation can be caused by various factors which are often interrelated. The first is monetary policy, which means excessive money supply can devalue the currency and increase prices. The second is fiscal policy, which means government borrowing and spending can lead to inflation if it results in more money circulating in the economy or increased costs passed on to the consumers. The third is demand pull. It occurs when demand outstrips supply, driving prices up. And the last is cost. It happens when rising production costs lead businesses to increase prices to maintain profit margins. Now, let's dive deeper into each of the causes of inflation. So first, we will have the look at monetary policy. It is a overabundance of money decrease currency will, which means monetary policy involves the management of a country's more supply and interest rates by its central bank. Let's discuss about its impact on inflation. So, when a central bank, such as the Reserve Bank of India, increases the money supply too much, it can lead to inflation. More money in circulation means people have more to spend, which increases demands for goods and services. If the supply of these goods and services doesn't increase correspondingly, then the price will go up, leading to inflation. This devalues the currency because each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services than before. Now see how increasing the money supply can lead to inflation. So we'll discuss about it with the help of the relationship between the central bank and the money supply. So now let's discuss about the role of central bank. A central bank, such as the Reserve Bank of India, is responsible for managing a country's monetary policies. This includes controlling the money supply, setting interest rates, and overseeing financial stability. Now, let's have a look at mechanism of money supply increase. First is the methods of increasing money supply. So, the methods are open market operations, in which the central bank buys government securities from the market, injecting money into the banking system. The second method to increase the money supply is lowering interest rates. By reducing the benchmark interest rate, the central bank makes borrowing cheaper, and thus it encourages businesses and consumers to take loans, increasing the money circulating in the economy. The third method of increasing the money supply is reducing reserve requirements. Lowering the amount of money banks must hold in reserve allows them to lend more, thus increasing the money supply and the circulating of the money in the economy. The last method is quantitative easing. The central bank purchases financial assets such as long-term securities from the market to increase the money supply directly. Now we will discuss about the immediate effects of monetary policies on the inflation. First is increased liquidity. Banks have more funds to lend, leading to increased borrowing by businesses and consumers. Second is lower borrowing cost. It reduces interest rates, makes loans cheaper, encouraging spending and investment. Now let's discuss about the impact on demand and supply. So increased demand. How the demand is increased because of the monetary policy. The first is because of consumer spending. With more money available, consumers are likely to spend more on goods and services. The second is business investment. Businesses invest in expansion, equipment, and hiring, anticipating higher demands. Now, let's see the lag in supply response. So, the reason is production constraints. The supply of goods and services cannot always increase quickly enough to match the sudden rise in demand. Factors like production capacity, availability of raw materials, and labor can limit immediate supply expansion. So, with all these effects, the resulting inflation is first, price increases, which lead to demand pull inflation. When demand outstrips supply, sellers can charge higher prices, leading to inflation. This is because too much money is chasing too few goods. Second is cost pull inflation. Increased demands for raw materials and labor can also drive up production cost, which businesses pass on to consumers in the form of higher prices. So, the impact of monetary policy is in terms of currency devaluation is it reduces purchasing power. As prices rise, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. This means the value of money decreases, leading to a decrease in purchasing power. So, second is inflation expectations. If people expect prices to continue rising, they may spend more quickly, further increasing demand and perpetuating inflation. This can create a self reinforcing cycle of inflation. Now we will discuss about the long-term effects of monetary policies over the economy. The first is erosion of savings. Uh, the real value of savings diminishes because the money saved today will buy fewer goods and services in the future. The second is if the interest rates on savings are lower than the inflation rate, savers effectively lose money in real terms. So, the second long term effect of monetary policy is its impact on investment. Inflation can lead to uncertainty in the stock market. While companies may increase revenues, higher costs can affect profitability. Now, this is about the bonds. Fixed income investments like bonds suffer because the interest payments do not keep up with rising prices, which means reducing real returns. The third is economic instability. So, firstly, it creates uncertainty in the economy as high inflation creates uncertainty in the economy, affecting business planning and consumer confidence. Interest rate hikes. To combat high inflation, central banks may increase interest rates, which can slow down economic growth and increase borrowing cost. So, in conclusion, we can say that when a central bank like the Reserve Bank of India increases the money supply excessively, it leads to higher demand for goods and services. If the supply doesn't keep pace, prices rise, resulting in inflation. This devalues the currency, reducing its purchasing power, while moderate inflation is a sign of economic growth. Excessive money supply can lead to high inflation, eroding savings and creating economic instability. Now, let's we dive deeper into the second cause of inflation, which is fiscal policy. So, policies um, we have discussed like high borrowing leads to higher taxes and more currency printing. So, first, let's discuss about what fiscal policies are. Fiscal policies refers to government spending and tax policies. Now, let's take a glance on how the fiscal policy impacts on inflation. When a government borrows heavily, it might increase taxes to repay the debt, which can reduce disposable income and consumer spending. However, to cover deficits, government might also print more money and thus increasing the money supply through printing can lead to inflation, similar to the effects of loose monetary policy. Higher public spending without corresponding increases in production can also drive prices up, contributing to inflation. Now, let's discuss how heavy government borrowing and deficit spending can lead to inflation. So, we'll discuss now government borrowing and its effect on inflation. Now, let's take a glance on heavy borrowing by a government. When a government needs to fund its operations, infrastructure projects, or social programs, it may borrow money. This borrowing can be done through various means such as issuing government bonds, taking loans from international organizations or other methods. Now, let's see the impact of government borrowing on taxes and disposable income. So, first impact is it increased the taxes. To repay the borrowed money, the government might increase taxes. Higher taxes reduce disposable income. The amount of money households have left after taxes is called the disposable income. So when the taxes are high, it leads to the reduction in disposable income, and thus it reduced the customer spending, because with less disposable income, consumers tend to cut back on spending. This can initially dampen demand for goods and services. Now, the second impact of fiscal policy is when there is a printing of more money to cover deficits. Let's see how. So, in case of covering deficits, when government spending exceeds its revenue, it results in a budget deficit. So, to cover these deficits without borrowing more. So, we have discussed earlier about the borrowing from the government. So, that was the first case. So, if government want to cover deficits without borrowing, which we have discussed earlier, then government might opt for printing additional money. This process is often referred to as monetizing the debt. Now, how this process impact on money supply? Printing more money increases the amount of currency in circulation. And this is somehow similar to loose monetary policy. This is akin to the effects of an expansionary or loose monetary policy, because the central bank increases the money supply to stimulate economic activity, which is similar to printing more money, which eventually leads to more money circulation in the economy. So now let's see how the increasing money supply effect in inflation. First is it increased demand. More money in the hands of consumers increases their purchasing power, leading to higher demand for goods and services. The second is businesses might see increased sales and may respond by raising prices, especially if they cannot immediately increase production to meet higher demands. Then again, it comes supply constraint. If the economy cannot increase production quickly enough to match the increased demand, there will be a supply-demand imbalance. And this imbalance leads to higher prices, as too much money chases few goods and services. Now we will see how inflation occurs from higher public spending. First, we will discuss about the government expenditure. Government spending on infrastructure, social programs, and other projects injects money into the economy. And this spending by the government increases overall demand in the economy. So there are short-term limitations in the production capacity which might not increase at the same pace as demand. This can be due to limitation in labor, raw materials, or manufacturing capacity. Again, with the higher demand and constant supply, price rise leading to inflation. So, we have discussed about the short term and the long term effect of fiscal policies on the inflation. Now, we will discuss about the overall effects of fiscal policies on inflation, or we can say on the economy. So, first effect is currency devaluation. An increased money supply reduces the value of each unit of currency as it buys fewer goods and services than before. And hence, the overall purchasing power of the currency declines, impacting savings and fixed income investments. The second is inflationary expectations. So, in case of fiscal policy or in case of higher demand, and if people expect prices to keep rising, they might spend more quickly because of the fear of further increasing demand and perpetuating inflation. Workers may demand higher wages to keep up with rising prices, leading businesses to increase price further to cover higher labor costs. The third is economic instability. Higher inflation creates uncertainty in the market, affecting business investments and economic planning. Hence, to combat high inflation, governments and central banks might need to implement stringent measures, such as raising interest rates, which can slow economic growth and increase the borrowing cost, and hence results into the less supply of money or the lower circulation of money in the economy. So, as to summarize the fiscal policy, we can say that heavy government borrowing can lead to increased taxes, reducing disposable income and consumer spending. To cover deficits, government might print more money, increasing the money supply and leading to inflation. Additionally, higher public spending without a corresponding increase in production can drive prices up, contributing to inflation. Thus, the overall effect is a devaluation of the currency, which reduced purchasing power and potential economic instability. So now we are moving toward the third cause, which is demand pull. Demand pull refers to higher demand than supply. So demand pull inflation occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds their supply. Now we will see the impact of demand pull on inflation. When consumers, businesses, and the government demand more than what the economy can produce, prices tend to rise. This can happen due to various factors such as increased consumer confidence, rising incomes, or expansionary fiscal policy. For example, if more people want to buy houses than there are houses available, the prices of houses will increase definitely. So, this type of inflation is often seen in a growing economy with rising employment and incomes. So this typically associated with periods of strong economic growth. Now we'll dive into the factors which contribute to demand pull. The first is increased consumer confidence. When consumers are confident about the future of the economy, they are more likely to spend money rather than save it. This optimism can stem from various factors such as the job security, rising incomes, and positive economic news. An increased consumer confidence leads to higher spending on goods and services, which boost the demands. The second factor is rising incomes. In a growing economy, companies often experience higher profits, may increase wages to attract and retain employees. As wages rise, disposable income increase, which allow consumers to spend more. And ultimately, the higher disposable income means consumers have more money to spend on a wide range of goods and services, and thus increasing the overall demand. The third factor is expansionary fiscal policies. Government may increase spending on infrastructure, social programs, and other projects to stimulate economic growth. This injection of funds into the economy increases demands for goods and services. Tax cut is also included in the fiscal policies, which means reducing taxes leaves consumers and businesses with more money to spend and invest, further boosting demand. The fourth factor is low interest rate. Central banks may lower interest rates to encourage borrowing and spending. Lower interest rates reduce the cost of loans for consumers and businesses. which lead to increased spending on goods, services, and investments. So, with cheaper loans, consumers may buy big ticket items such as houses, cars, while a business may invest in expansion, both of which drive up the demand in the economy. Now, we'll discuss about the mechanism of demand pull inflation. First is aggregate demand surpasses aggregate supply. So, let's first understand what aggregate demand is. Aggregate demand is the total demand for goods and services in an economy at a given overall price level and in a given period. Aggregate supply is the total supply of goods and services that firms in an economy plan on selling during a specific time period. So, when aggregate demand exceeds aggregate supply, price rise as businesses and sellers take advantage of higher demand by increasing prices. Now we'll discuss some of the examples of this. First, let's take example of housing market. If consumer confidence is high and interest rates are low, more people may decide to buy homes. If the number of homes available for sale does not increase at the same rate as the demand, then house prices will rise. Now, let's take example with respect to consumer goods. During festive seasons or period of economic optimism, the demand for consumer goods such as electronics, clothing, and cars may surge. If manufacturers cannot quickly ramp up production to meet this demand, prices will eventually increase to cope up with the demand. The third example we'll take with respect to the services. So, increased demand for services like travel, dining, and entertainment can also lead to higher prices, especially if the service providers face capacity constraints. Now, let's see the impact of demand pull on the prices. It increases the prices. So, general price increase we can see as demand outpasses supply, prices of goods and services increase across the board. This can lead to a general rise in the cost of living. Now we'll see in terms of sector specific inflation. Certain sectors may experience more significant price increases depending on where the demand surge is most pronounced. Now have a look at economic indicators. While moderate demand pull inflation often accompanies economic growth, excessive inflation can become problematic, potentially leading to overheating of the economy. Initially, rising demand can lead to higher employment as businesses hire more workers to meet the increased demand. However, if inflation becomes too high, it can erode purchasing power and hurt the economic stability of a nation. Now let's see the central bank response towards demand pull. To control demand pull inflation, central banks may increase interest rates to cool down the economy. Higher interest rates makes borrowing more expensive, which can reduce spending and investment. Other measures are also taken by central banks, which includes reducing the money supply or tightening credit conditions to bring demand in line with supply. By looking at all the effects and impacts of demand pull, here is the summary. Demand pull inflation occurs when the overall demand for goods and services in an economy exceeds the economy's ability to produce them. Factors such as increased consumer confidence, rising incomes, expansionary fiscal policies, and low interest rates can drive this type of inflation. While moderate demand pull inflation is a sign of a growing economy, excessive inflation can lead to higher prices and potential economic instability. Central banks and policy makers must balance stimulating growth with controlling inflation to maintain economic stability. Now we will dive deeper into the fourth cause of inflation, which is cost push, which means the cost of production for goods and services increase, leading to higher prices. We can also say the higher manufacturing costs lead to the higher prices of the goods. Now let's see its impact on inflation. If the cost of raw materials, wages, or other inputs rises, producers may pass these costs on to consumers or customers in the form of higher prices. Let's take an example here to understand this. If the prices of oil rises, it increases transportation and production costs for many goods, leading to higher overall prices, and which eventually will impact on the purchasing power of consumers. Let's take another example. So, an increase in wages due to stronger labor unions, which can lead to higher costs for business that are then passed on to consumers in the form of high prices. Now we will discuss about the factors contributing to cost pull inflation. First is rising raw material cost. So first is oil prices. Oil is a critical input for many industries, not just for transportation, but also for the manufacturing processes, as many machines are dependent on oil to run. So, when oil prices rise, the cost of transportation and production increases, leading to higher prices for goods and services across the economy. Now, let's see about the commodity prices. Increase in the prices of essential commodities like metals, agricultural products, and minerals can raise production costs for a wide range of goods. As these items contribute to the primary production labels. Now, the second factor is increased wages. In increased wages, the first factor is labor union. Stronger labor unions can negotiate higher wages for workers. While this benefits workers, it increases cost for businesses. Minimum wage law is another factor which contribute towards the high wages. Government mandate increase in the minimum wage can also raise labor cost for businesses, which may pass these costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Again, the labor shortage is another factor for the increase in wages. In tight labor markets, businesses may have to offer higher wages to attract and retain employees, leading to increased production cost. So now we'll discuss about other input costs which will lead to the cost push inflation, uh, which includes energy prices. Besides oil, prices of other energy sources such as natural gas and electricity also impact production cost. Increases in these costs can lead to higher prices for goods and services. Supply chain disruptions can also contribute towards it. Disruptions in the supply chain, such as those caused by natural disasters, political instability, or pandemics, can increase the cost of inputs and transportation, contributing to cost push inflation. Now, let's have a look at mechanism of cost push inflation. The first is increased production cost. When the cost of key inputs like raw material and labor rises, businesses face higher production cost. To maintain profitability, businesses often pass these increased costs onto consumers by raising prices. So, the extent to which businesses can pass on costs depends on the competitive environment and consumer demand. In industries with less competition, businesses may have more pricing power. Now, we'll discuss it with the help of few examples. Suppose the price of oil rises significantly. This can impact transportation costs, higher fuel prices for shipping goods and production costs, energy intensive manufacturing processes. As a result, the prices of goods that they rely heavily on oil, such as gasoline, plastics, and transported goods, will increase. So, another example is if a major industry faces a wage hike due to stronger unions or minimum wage laws, businesses in that industry will see higher labor costs. If the minimum wage increases significantly, fast food restaurants and retail stores might raise their price to cover the higher wage they must pay their employees, as they have the higher number of working population. Now, let's discuss about the impact of cost push inflation. First is rising prices, as obvious. As businesses across various sectors raise their prices to cover the increased cost, the overall price level in the economy rises. Certain sectors, especially those heavily dependent on the affected inputs, might see sharper price increase. For example, our energy intensive industry may experience higher inflation rates when energy price rise. It also reduces the purchasing power of consumers or customers. Higher prices of goods and services mean that each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services, reducing consumers' purchasing power. This can lead to decreased consumer spending, especially on non essential items. Increased costs for essential goods like food, fuel, and housing can significantly impact the cost of living, affecting lower income households the most. The third impact is its economic indicators. The overall inflation rate might rise as the general price level increases. Higher prices can lead to demand for higher wages as workers seek to maintain their purchasing power. If businesses grant these wage increases, their costs rise further, potentially leading to another round of price increases. This cycle is known as a wage price spiral. So, when the cost is rising, the workers are demanding to increase in wage, and when the grant of increase in wage accepted, which eventually lead to the rise in cost. So this is a loop of cost push inflation. Now discussing about the policy response towards the cost push. First, the monetary policy. Central banks may respond to cost push inflation by tightening monetary policy, such as raising interest rates to curb inflationary pressure. However, this can also slow economic growth. In some cases, government may intervene directly to control price or to subsidize key industries to keep costs down or to stabilize the economy. After discussing all the factors impact of cost push, we come to the conclusion. Uh, Here is the conclusion. The cost push inflation occurred when the cost of production inputs such as raw materials, wages, and energy rise, leading businesses to increase price to maintain the profitability. Examples include raising oil prices, increasing transportation and production costs, and wage hikes due to stronger labor unions or minimum wage laws. This type of increase of price reduces consumers' purchasing power, raises the cost of living, and can lead to a wage price spiral. Policymakers must balance controlling inflation with maintaining economic growth and stability. So now we have discussed about the all causes of inflation. We are moving towards the type of inflations. First, we will discuss about the demand pull inflation. This type of inflation occurs when aggregate demand in an economy exceeds aggregate supply. It typically happens during periods of economic expansion when consumer demand is strong, leading to increased prices. Now let's see what are the causes of demand pull inflation. Factors such as increased consumer spending, government spending, or investment can drive up demand faster than producers can increase supply. Let's dive more into these factors. The first is increased consumer spending. When consumers have more disposable income or confidence in the economy, they tend to increase their spending on goods and services. Second is government spending. Increased government expenditure, especially on infrastructure projects, social programs, or defense, injects additional money into the economy, boosting aggregate demand. The next factor is investment. Higher level of private investment, whether in businesses expanding their operations or in capital projects, can stimulate economic activity and raise aggregate demand. These factors collectively create a situation where the demands of goods and services exceeds what producers can supply in the short term. Now, let's discuss about the effect of demand pull inflation. Price rise across various sectors of the economy as businesses try to meet the higher demand with limited supply, leading to inflation. As demand exceeds supply, several effects manifest across various sectors of the economy. The first is price increase. Businesses respond to increased demand by raising prices to maximize profit margins. This price adjustment occurs because they cannot immediately increase supply to meet the heightened demand. The second is wage pressure. To attract and retain workers during periods of high demand, businesses may need to increase wages. This wage pressure further adds to production cost, contributing to inflationary pressures. The fourth is sectoral impact. Inflation affects different sectors unevenly. Essential goods and services where demand is inelastic, not highly responsive to price changes, may experience sharper price increase. Now, the consumer behavior. Higher prices erode consumers' purchasing power, leading to potential shift in spending patterns and impacting overall economic growth and stability. To summarize this, we can say demand pull inflation can be seen as a sign of economic growth and optimism, but must be managed carefully to avoid runaway inflation or economic instability. Central banks often use monetary policy tools like interest rate adjustment to moderate demand and inflationary pressures in such situations. Now we'll discuss about the cost push inflation. So the cost push inflation occurs when the cost of production increases significantly, causing businesses to raise prices to maintain profit margins. Now let's see what are the causes of cost push inflation. So this inflation type is often driven by factors such as increased wages, higher raw material cost, or taxes that leads to higher production cost. So the first factor that causes cost push inflation is increased wages. When wages rise due to labor market conditions, collective bargaining, or minimum wage laws, businesses face higher labor costs for producing goods and services. The second is higher raw material cost. Prices of essential inputs like oil, metals, agricultural products, etc., can fluctuate due to global demand supply dynamics, geopolitical factors, or weather conditions, impacting production costs and thus impacting the demand and supply. Third is taxes and regulations. Changes in tax policies, environmental regulations, or compliance costs imposed by government can increase operating expenses for businesses, leading to higher prices. Now, we'll see the effect of cost push inflation on the economy. As business pass on increased cost to consumer through higher prices, inflation occurs even if demand remains constant or decreases slightly. Let's discuss about those effects one by one. The first is inflationary pressure. When businesses raise prices to maintain profit margins in the face of higher costs, it contributes to overall inflation in the economy. Even if consumer demand remains stable or declines slightly, the higher prices persist, driving inflationary trends. The second is reduced purchasing power. Higher prices reduce consumers' purchasing power as they need more money to buy the same amount of goods and services. This can lead to adjustments in spending patterns and overall economic slowdown. The next factor is competitiveness challenges. Industries heavily relying on cost sensitive products may face challenges in maintaining competitiveness if prices rise too steeply compared to competitors in global markets. The next factor is, or the next effect is, potential for wage price spirals. If workers negotiate higher wages in response to increased living cost, it can further escalate production cost, creating a cycle of wage price spirals that exacerbate inflationary pressure. So after looking all the impacts, factor contributing towards the cost push inflation and the effect of cost push inflation on the economy, I came to the conclusion that is cost push inflation can present challenges for central banks and policy makers as traditional monetary policy tools like interest rate adjustments may have limited effectiveness in addressing underlying cost increases. Instead, addressing the root causes such as supply chain efficiency, energy policy, and regulatory burdens may be necessary to mitigate its impact on the economy. Now we'll dive into the third type of inflation, which is open inflation. Now let's have a look at what open inflation is. Open inflation refers to a situation where there is a steady and visible increase in prices across different sectors of the economy. Now, let's have a glance on the causes of open inflation. It can result from various factors such as general economic growth, increased demand without corresponding supply increases, or external shocks like changes in international commodity prices. Now we'll discuss these factors or the causes of open inflation one by one. The first is general economic growth. So the first effect of open inflation includes gradual price increases. Unlike rapid or hyperinflation, open inflation involves a steady and consistent rise in prices across different sectors of the economy over time. This gradual increase can erode consumers' purchasing power if wages do not keep pace. The second impact is it's on consumer behavior. As prices rise, consumer may adjust their spending habits, potentially reducing discretionary spending or seeking lower cost alternatives. This can affect businesses' profitability and overall economic activity. The third impact is economic stability concern. Persistent inflation, if not managed efficiently or effectively, can lead to broader economic instability. It may affect investors' confidence, lead to uncertainty in financial markets, and complicate monetary policy decisions. Aimed at maintaining price stability and sustainable economic growth. The another impact is on policy responses. Central banks and governments often use monetary policy tools such as interest rate adjustment or fiscal measures to manage open inflation. These actions aim to moderate demand pressures, support economic growth, and ensure price stability over the medium to long term. Managing open inflation requires a balanced approach that considers both short-term economic conditions and long-term growth objectives. By addressing underlying factors driving price increases and implementing effective policy measures, policymakers can mitigate the adverse effect of inflation on the economy and consumers. Now we are heading toward the another type of inflation, which is repressed inflation. Let's look at the definition of repressed inflation. Repressed inflation occurs when the government intervenes in the market to control or suppress price increases, often through price control or subsidies. Now, let's have a look over the causes of repressed inflation. Government may implement repressive measures to curb inflationary pressure, especially during periods of high economic volatility, or to manage social unrest caused by rising prices. Repressed inflation occurs when government intervene in the economy to control or suppress price increases, typically through regulatory measures such as price controls, subsidies, or direct market interventions. There are several reasons that prompt government to implement such measures. The first one of the reasons is economic volatility. During periods of high inflation or economic instability, governments may intervene to stabilize prices and maintain social order. This intervention aims to alleviate public dissatisfaction and prevent social unrest caused by rising living cost. The second reason is political considerations. Government may implement repressive measures to demonstrate control over economic conditions and maintain political stability. This can involve setting price ceilings, subsidizing essential goods, or imposing export restrictions to keep domestic prices low. Another reason is short-term stability goals. In the short term, repressive measures can provide immediate relief by keeping prices artificially low or stable. This approach is often favored in situations where rapid price increases threaten economic stability or public confidence. Now we will discuss about the effect of repressed inflation. While It may temporarily stabilize prices. Repressed inflation can lead to distortion in the market, a shortage of goods, and long term economic inefficiencies if underlying issues causing inflation are not addressed. Now we'll discuss the effects of repressed inflation one by one. First is market distortions. Price controls and subsidies can disrupt normal market mechanisms, leading to inefficiencies in resource allocation. Suppliers may reduce production or withhold goods if they cannot cover cost, leading to shortages or quality declines in subsidized products. The second is supply chain disruptions. Government interventions may discourage investment in production capacity or innovation as businesses face uncertain profitability under controlled price regimes. This can hinder long term economic growth and development. The next effect is misallocation of resources. Price controls often lead to misallocation of resources as producers focus on goods subject to price controls rather than more economically viable products. This inefficiency reduces overall productivity and competitiveness in the economy. The next fact is inflationary pressures build up. Repressed inflation does not address underlying causes of inflation, such as excessive money supply growth or structural imbalance. As a result, one price controls are lifted or subsidized, reduced, pent up inflationary pressures may emerge, leading to rapid price increases. Long term economic inefficiency. Over time, repressed inflation can erode economic efficiency and competitiveness as businesses and consumers adapt to distorted price signals rather than market realities. This can undermine sustainable economic growth and resilience. So, after looking at the effect and causes of repressed information, we summarized it as follows. While repressed inflation may initially stabilize prices and manage short term economic challenges, it often creates long term economic distortion and inefficiencies. Sustainable solutions to inflation typically involve addressing underlying economic imbalances through structural reforms, fostering competitive market, and implementing prudent monetary and fiscal policies to ensure price stability and sustainable growth. Now we will discuss about the fifth type of inflation, that is hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is an extremely rapid and typically out of control inflation where prices increase uncontrollably, often on a daily or even hourly basis. Let's have a glance on the causes of hyperinflation. It is usually caused by a combination of factors such as excessive money supply growth, collapse of confidence in the currency, political instability, or economic crisis. So let's now dive deeper into the causes. The first is excessive money supply growth. When a government prints an excessive amount of money to finance its spending, it can lead to a rapid increase in the money supply. This dilutes the value of the currency, causing prices to soar as too much money chases too few goods. The second is collapse of confidence in the currency. If people lose confidence in the value of the currency, they will try to spend it quickly before it loses more value. This can happen due to irresponsible fiscal policies, lack of central bank independence, or anticipation of further economic deterioration, exacerbating the inflationary spiral. The third is political instability. Political instability or poor governance can lead to economic mismanagement, loss of investor confidence, and capital flight. In such environments, the government may resort to printing money to cover budget deficits, triggering hyperinflation. The next cause is economic crisis. Several economic crises, such as wars, natural disasters, or significant disruptions in trade, can disrupt the production and supply of goods and services. Combined with an already weakened economic structure, this can accelerate hyperinflation. Now we will dive into the effects of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation results in a severe devaluation of the currency, loss of purchasing power for consumer, disruptions in economic activity, and social unrest. So let's discuss about the first effect, which is severe currency devaluation. The value of the currency plummets, making it nearly worthless. This devaluation means that people need increasingly larger amount of money to buy the same goods and services, leading to skyrocketing prices. The second is loss of purchasing power. Consumers' purchasing power erodes rapidly, savings become worthless, and wages often cannot keep pace with the rate of inflation, leading to a significant decline in the living standards. The next causes the next effect is disruptions in economic activity. Hyperinflation disrupts normal economic activity. Businesses may find it difficult to set prices, leading to uncertainty and inefficiency. Long-term planning and investment become almost impossible, hampering economic growth. The next is social unrest. The severe economic hardship caused by hyperinflation can lead to widespread social unrest. People may protest or riot due to the inability to afford basic necessities, leading to political instability and potentially violent conflict. The next effect is barter economy emergence. In the extreme cases, people may revert to a barter system or use foreign currencies to conduct transactions. As the local currency becomes unreliable as a medium of exchange and store of value. The next is erosion of trust in institutions. Hyperinflation can erode trust in government and financial institutions as people lose faith in the government's ability to manage the economy. It can lead to long-term challenges in the rebuilding economic stability and confidence. Addressing hyperinflation typically requires drastic measures, such as implementing a new stable currency, restoring fiscal and monetary discipline, and often seeking international assistance to stabilize the economy. Successful stabilization programs usually involve tight control over money supply growth, fiscal reforms, and restoring confidence in the currency and economic policies. Now we are moving toward the next type of inflation, which is moderate and creeping inflation. So, moderate inflation occurs when prices rise slowly and predictably over time, typically at an annual rate of up to 3%. Let's have a look on the impact of moderate and creeping inflation. So, first, on the consumers. Since the increases in prices is gradual, consumers can adjust their spending habits accordingly. Their purchasing power is not significantly eroded in the short term. Now, the effect on businesses is companies can plan their pricing, wages, and production schedules more effectively due to the predictable nature of price increases. So, the effect of moderate inflation on economy, it can promote investment and spending as the expectations of slightly higher prices in the future encourages people to buy now rather than later. Now we'll discuss about the next type of inflation is walking inflation. Let's have a look on the definition of walking inflation. So, what walking inflation is? This type of inflation is more noticeable with annual price increases between 3% and 10%. So now let's discuss about its impact on first on consumers. The rising cost of goods and services starts to erode purchasing power more significantly. People may find it harder to keep up with the cost of living if wages do not increase at the same time. Now, the effect of walking inflation on businesses. Companies may face higher costs for raw materials and labor. They may pass these costs on to consumers, leading to a cycle of rising prices. Now, the impact of walking inflation on economy. While it can still stimulate economic growth by encouraging spending and investment, the rapid increase can lead to inefficiencies and potential overheating of the economy. If not controlled, it can lead to galloping inflation. So now let's come to the galloping inflation. Galloping inflation is the severe form of inflation occurs when prices increase at double digit rates or higher, often exceeding 10% per year. Now let's take a glance on impact of galloping inflation on consumers. The rapid price increases can drastically erode purchasing power, making everyday goods and services unaffordable for many. Savings lose value quickly, leading to a decrease in overall wealth. Now, come to the impact of galloping inflation on businesses. Companies face high uncertainty and increased cost, which can disrupt planning and investment. It becomes challenging to set prices and wages appropriately. Now let's discuss about the effect of galloping inflation on economy. The economy suffers as the instability discourages investment and savings. High inflation can lead to a loss of confidence in the currency, potentially causing a financial crisis. Central banks often needs to implement drastic measures to control galloping inflation, such as raising interest rates significantly, which can lead to recession.